Hey folks, Eric here, the Whatever Guy, because it really is whatever for me. Do you folks want to know about a man that is 68 years old that was denied parole for growing pot in Baldwin County? You guys stick around, man, and we'll talk about that. As you guys know, man, my name's Eric. I'm the Whatever Guy. You shoot videos a couple days a week, basically keeping you guys updated in the world Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10, hemp cannabis, just what's going on around. And having said that, man, sitting here, we're sitting around on an early Thursday morning, as you guys know, we've got a lot of crazy stuff going on with the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission. We've been reporting on that quite a bit. And as we move forward, people like Marty Shelper and myself have been claiming or have been screaming at the legislature. Basically, we want free markets and we want to allow home grow. And so this guy over at Leon Hopkins over there was basically growing about 5.5 pounds of marijuana in Baldwin County. He was sentenced to 40 years under the new laws and the trafficking laws for the state of Alabama. And that has basically put him in prison for 40 years. And that's a life sentence for a 58-year-old guy. And now he's 10 years into his sentence and he's basically run up on a parole board. And the parole board, and even with the eyes of the feds on it right now, with everything going on with the parole, with the jail system in Alabama, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but we've got a lot of crazy stuff going on. We've got people that are getting their bodies, family members' bodies back that don't have organs. We've got prisoners that are dying. We've got overcrowding situations. We've probably got the worst prison system in the United States. And as it stands right now, we've got a guy that's in prison for basically nothing. Like when you're going to read this article right here, you're going to find out that this guy is super responsible. They give him keys to a boat place. Like this guy basically only goes to the prison and sleeps at night. And it's a tragedy that he is kept in prison after all this time, especially when you consider all the crazy shit that we got going on with the Alabama Medical Cannabis Coalition. As it stands right now, my understanding is that yesterday the MCC posted on their board that I believe it was Alabama Always that their appeals got shot down yesterday. We'll do some reporting on that later on. I've talked about that previously in the past. I already told you previously that was what we expected because Judge Anderson's already stated that he made a mistake, that they were going to send it back down to the court. And then we've also got a lawsuit and appeal going up to the appeals court for Trulieve. Trulieve is the only social equity license that was awarded in the cultivator space. I'm kind of confused on exactly what they were appealing. My understanding is they were appealing the restraining order itself. They want the judge to remove the restraining order and allow these licenses to go forward. But my understanding is that they were appealing that in the integrator space, which is a crazy situation. So we're gonna get some resolution on that in the next couple hours. And what I'll do is I'll get you guys a video up later this afternoon or tomorrow. But today we're going to talk about Leon Hotchkiss over in jail, man. He's actually at Loxley prison right now doing time. It says parole denied for a 68-year-old in Alabama, a life sentence for growing marijuana. And that's his picture there, guys. You guys see him. And you guys can pick this article up over at alabama.com. And I believe it's being reported at MSNBC. Leon Hotchkiss, now 68, remains behind bars in Alabama, spending decades in prison for growing pot. Authorities seized about 5.5 pounds of the plant on his property in Baldwin County, allowing authorities to charge him under the state's marijuana trafficking law. In 2013, Hotchkiss was sentenced to spend the next 40 years in prison. And when he came up for parole in February, after serving a decade, the three-member Alabama Parole Board voted to keep him there. The board set his next hearing for 2028. The furthest they could push it back, he'll be 73. Today, Hotchkiss is incarcerated at the Loxley Community Work Center. Although he spends most of his days outside the lockup, each morning he is dropped off at his job at a Fairhope boat dealership. Jody Culliford recently retired from the dealership, but he's the person who secured the job for Hotchkiss. He said he had trouble finding a person to wash boats, so he called the prison and asked if they had anyone that could do the job and provide general maintenance. They sent Hotchkiss. On Hotchkiss's first day, Culliford explained the job. He picked up really quick and did a phenomenal job. Culliford called Hotchkiss a good worker and a trustworthy employee and said that bosses gave him his own key to the dealership. That way, Hotchkiss could let himself inside in case the prison van dropped him off too early in the morning. Come on, guys. Is that someone that needs to be in prison? Like they have given this guy the keys to the whole boat dealership, and he's there long before any other employees get there, and he's allowed to let himself in. Like this is a trustworthy person right here. This is a tragedy right here that this guy is still in prison, especially when you read the rest of this right here. It says now Hotchkiss is responsible for handling the golf carts, general labor, maintenance, and more. When I say hard worker, you couldn't outwork him. Hotchkiss, who goes by his middle name Bud, was convicted under the state's marijuana trafficking statute, which requires people with a certain amount of pot to be charged with trafficking, regardless of whether there is evidence of selling the drug. And let me just say this, I've already looked at the case. I was aware of this case prior to this. I actually looked into this case a couple years ago. This guy was not selling pot. He basically was growing about 15 or 20 pounds, or excuse me, 15 or 20 plants of marijuana. And when they weighed that, they weighed the stalk, stem, roots, and all, and that's how they got up to the 5.5 pounds. This guy wasn't selling pot. He was doing it for his own medicinal benefits. That law provides several different levels of trafficking, and Hotchkiss was convicted under the lowest level, having between 2.2 pounds and 100 pounds. That weight includes all parts of the plant, fruit and stem and all. When asked about Hotchkiss's charges, Colifer scoffed and said the 68-year-old should absolutely not be in prison for 4 decades on marijuana charges. He always cringed seeing Hotchkiss, who has medical issues, board the prison van and return to the Loxley prison each night. In recent years, as prohibition of marijuana has ended across much of the nation, the number of people prosecuted in Alabama's marijuana trafficking has also fallen off. According to the Alabama Sentencing Commission, there were just 13 trafficking convictions in the fiscal year 2021, down from 16 in 2020 and 33 in 2019. And the trafficking laws were most frequently used during those years to secure convictions for methamphetamines. The parole denial came despite Colifer's best efforts. Colifer, advocating for Hotchkiss, appealed to the local district attorney's office and to his state representative. He started a social media campaign, and other people spoke to the board on Hotchkiss's behalf, but the odds were always stacked against him. The current Alabama parole board now denies nearly everyone, despite a prison system that is in federal crosshairs for being dangerously overcrowded. Fewer than 1 in 10 people who came before the board were granted parole in 2023, about 8%. That's despite the board's own guidelines showing most of these people, more than 80%, qualified to be paroled. That's despite cases like Hotchkiss's, where family or advocates appeal on behalf of the inmate. He's not a danger to us all. He's just a great guy. He really is. He needs to be in prison like I need to be in prison. In the end, the state still decided Hotchkiss, like so many others, was safe enough to work in public without supervision, but he still must spend his nights in the lockup. Hotchkiss has no end in sight. If he serves his entire 40-year prison sentence, he would be released at the age of 98. He's serving a life sentence for growing marijuana. We're playing politics with a man's life. Guys, this is a crazy situation right here. Like, with everything that we got going on, with all the hands that we have involved in the medical marijuana process, like, that is the reason why we can't get to a position where we can get some sort of home growth. There's not a medical state out there that is running medical marijuana program. The 9/10 of them already have some sort of home growth where you can grow 4 plants or whatever the case is. And that would probably solve this guy's issue right here on the other side. But that's crazy right here that he was growing 15 or 20 plants. They had no information about him selling weed whatsoever. And basically just somebody reported the guy, and he ended up with 15 or 20 plants. They weighed the whole thing, roots. I mean, and I saw the picture too. Like, they didn't even shake the dirt off. Like, they didn't shake the dirt off the roots. They threw the roots, the plant, and everything on a scale, and they weighed it. It came up to 5.5 pounds. It probably would have been about maybe 3 or 4 pounds of marijuana at the most. I doubt even that, maybe 2 pounds. But having said that, they got this guy a 40-year sentence, and now he's basically, like, this guy has the keys to a boat dealership. Like, I don't even have the keys to him. Like, I work for Gaston, I work for Boro Hemp, and I go up there on occasion, and I get there early in the mornings. I don't have a key. I don't have a key to that plant. Like, and come on, guys. Like, this is a crazy situation right here. This guy needs to be out, and we need to get some sort of resolution on the other side. We need to push this off. We need to disband the AMCC, and we need to push this in the legislature, and then we need to lobby for medical marijuana the way it's supposed to be, and allow some sort of home growth. All right, folks, Whatever Guy signing off, and I'll talk to you guys later, man. Love it. See you.